Hi Don, P. Mitchell with the Paul Wilson Golf School. Thanks for the video golf lesson. Today we're just going to be looking at 4 areas, okay? Always, before we get into anything else, I know you're kind of familiar with the teachings here, obviously, when you came out here. And, you know, always be working on touching the legs, touching the head. Those 2 positions should be pretty much perfect all the time. Should be, you know, perfectly touching. Club should be perfectly parallel, always touching your head. And many people ask, do they have to touch? Yes, they have to touch. Okay, so always kind of work on those things. You know, those are probably some of the most important positions in the golf swing, if not the most important. Okay, so first thing we're going to look at is your grip. It's just very strong, your right hand grip. It's backed off way too much on this side. I can see too much of your fingers, and this letter V is pointing way outside your right shoulder. What this is doing into your backswing, since the grip is so strong, you're pulling it back inside and it's going across the line. Like that club is going across the line there. So that really comes from that really strong grip. So what you want to do, you got 1, 2, and 3 knuckle sections. We gotta be holding it in the second knuckle section. Yes, this is gonna feel very weak in your right hand. It's gonna feel like you have no power, but it's gonna fix your backswing and it's gonna get your wrist looser, which is then gonna hit the ball further. Okay, so second knuckle section, we're coming in, we're stopping at the second knuckle section, and we're wrapping the hand more on top of the club, not on the side of the club. We're trying to cover up this left thumb. So in a good grip, you should never see your left thumb. It should be hidden behind your right hand. Okay, so grip can be a little bit tricky. Okay, so just be careful with that, and it's something that you work on all the time, always working on your grip. Every time you practice, every time you hit balls, you know, a couple times in a round, just stop, check it, oh, that looks good. You know, hold it in your fingers, you should barely be able to hold on to the club. So it's going to give a very weak feeling in your right hand. Most people don't like that. Most people want a strong feeling, but the strong feeling is going to give you power to whack at the golf ball, and we're trying not to do that. We're trying to create a loose hinge. Okay, so always be working on that. That's the first thing. Second thing is, into the backswing, you have what's called a sway. Sways can be a little bit tricky. When you go back, your weight is actually going to the outside of your right foot. So outside of the right foot can give you no power. There's no power to push off of to touch the leg position. So when you go back, you want to feel 80% of your weight onto the instep of your right foot. Think of something, if you can do something as simple as throwing a ball or throwing a baseball. You would never throw it and be on the outside of that foot. You just wouldn't have power to push off of. It's the same with hitting a golf ball. Right now, this knee's coming in, this one's kind of straightening, and I can see light under the instep of your right shoe there. So a couple ways you can work on this. One is, when you take your setup, you can point this left foot out, you know, about 45, 60 degrees out. I don't want it 90 degrees, but do your backswing. That's going to give a tightness into the lower body, and try and feel like you're bouncing on this right knee with the weight on the instep of the right foot. That's one way. Or another way is, kind of probably a better way, is you want to feel the weight on that right big toe and try and always be pushing off of that right big toe to touch the legs. Okay, so if you sway and go on the outside of that foot, well, you're not going to be able to push off of that right big toe. So that can be a little bit tricky. Really, you just want to feel more stable in this lower body. And, you know, either of those methods work. I quite like the left foot pointing out because you can instantly feel it. You can instantly feel the tightness in the lower body, or feel, you know, pushing off of that right big toe and have the weight more there, kind of, you know, this part of your foot here. Okay, so try those 2 different methods. They can see which one works best for you, but that sway becomes very, very inconsistent. Now you're judging your swing on how much you go side to side, not circular. As I said, any other sport, you would never go to the outside of your foot. Okay, so that's the second thing. Third thing is, you still have a little bit of a chicken wing coming through the ball. It's looking pretty buckled here, and then here it's still pretty buckled. So try and always be stretching your arms out. We want to try and stretch our arms out because my arm's only ever going to be this long. It can never get longer. So if I stretch my arm out every time, I then make my golf swing very consistent every time. Okay, so that makes it consistent. And that's how golf can be consistent. That's how I can hit, 8, 9, 10 out of 10 balls the same every time. If you come through today like this, tomorrow like that, the next week like that, next month like that, like when is that circle or the diameter of that circle ever consistent? It never is. Plus it's a very weak position. You're narrowing the arc of your golf swing. We want it as wide as possible. So a couple ways. One, just do little half or 3/4 backswings, and we're going to try and stretch our arms out. Arms can only stretch out so far. Just keep doing that. It's kind of a yes or no answer. If you come through and you're here, well, that is not stretched out. That is still a chicken wing. You got to stretch that right arm out. It can only go so far. It's kind of a yes or no answer. Another way is just think of, if you had like a Sharpie or magic marker on the end of your club, a giant piece of paper here, just try and draw a giant circle on it every time. A massive circle. The wider your arc, the faster the club head's going to move. The more distance you're going to get with the golf ball. Okay, so chicken wings can kind of be a little bit tricky to get out of. You'll always want to be working on stretching your arms out. Stretching your arms out. As I said, they can't stretch out enough. Okay, try and slow down a little bit. That usually comes from trying to hit the ball so hard with your arms. Okay, so that's the second area. The third one will be, the fourth one will be, you look very over the top into your downswing. Looks like a lot of arms in it. You're here and you're really steep and over the top. I can see a gap through your arms coming through. So you go back okay, and then you look like that, and I can see a gap through here. Easiest way to work on this is, if you have a range ball with a stripe on it or a name on the ball, try and put that pointing backwards. This is an instant way you can feel trying to keep behind the ball a little bit. Tee up your shots. Point the stripe that way or behind the ball. So when you go to the top of your backswing, look for the stripe and then just keep behind it. Do a little 3/4 swing and keep looking at the stripe there, and you'll find your ball will start going right. You can instantly change the direction of the ball. So you keep doing that until it feels somewhat normal. Right now, your body is going this way. Let's try and get it going that way, behind. Your head has to drop behind the ball. It should come from proper fundamentals of when you fire your lower body, your torso should stay back a little bit. But let's manually do it for some swings. 3/4 backswings, go back, look for the stripe on the back side of the ball, and then gently hit it. Keep looking at that stripe. Okay? You'll find that you'll change the path immediately, if you do it correctly. My balls are all going off to the right here. I've instantly changed the path. If you hit a shot and you have that way over the top, this way, the ball's going to go left. So I have to know how to hit those shots. So all I do, I just tilt my body left and the ball goes left. I tilt my body right, the ball goes right. Okay? It's that simple. Keep working on it until you get the feeling of your head staying behind the ball, and then once it feels more comfortable, start adding touching the legs, touching the head, and that will then start working into a normal swing. And that's how you get the ball, stop going right now, so going right is as bad as going left, touch the legs, and you'll find it will go right on target. Just think more rotational, rotate a little bit more. So it just looks so over the top. As I say, when you start the downswing, I can see this right arm going above the left. It should be underneath the left. You can see my the shaft is going towards 90 degrees there. Like that, it's going away from 90 degrees. So easiest way, as I said, put the stripe on the back, do little 3/4 swings, and just feel like your head is behind the ball. You'll find right away that you'll change the direction instantly of your shots. Okay? Keep working on those 4 areas. As I said, the first one was the grip. Right hand's a little strong. The left one, second one is the sway in the backswing. That can be very, very tricky. You've got 4 pretty tough areas here to work on. Next one is the chicken wing. Try and keep stretching those arms out all the time. That is all the time you're going to be working on that. You go out to play, you've got a couple minutes between shots. I know we've all had slow rounds. Just do 5 or 10, stretch the arms out. Stretch the arms out. It's going to feel completely out of control. The club going away from you will feel out of control, but that's the feeling of it. Okay, so that's the third one. And then the last one is just try and keep your head behind the ball for a few shots. You'll see the direction change, and then start adding legs to it, and that'll straighten it out. Okay, so keep working on those 4 areas. They're pretty tricky. I would do one at a time. You know, grip should be, maybe do, you know, the grip all the time, always working on the grip, but the other areas, you know, one at a time. Don't try and do all 3 at once. You're just going to be a mental wreck. Okay, so keep working on those, and if you have any questions, please let me know. I know it's pretty tricky and it's a little bit complicated today, but just working it in that order. Okay, so thanks again, Don. Have a good one.